As I said last month, one of the great things that's happened on Slack recently is this Today I Learnt channel. So what I did last month was trawl through the month prior with all the stuff people put in there. This is nearly everything that was useful. Sometimes Today I Learnt is, just a bit of a snark against something else. I've tried to keep this a bit productive. So we'll start at the beginning, and this literally was the morning after last CocoaHeads. I'm going to publish all these slides on GitHub. There's a link at the end. There'll be a PDF at the end. So you don't have to, unless you want to, you don't have to write down everything. But here's some commands to stop a Mac from going to sleep and stop the display sleeping. If you are not Jet and you are setting up a CI box yourself, these are super handy things to do PM set sleep 0 and display sleep 0. You can also go to system preferences, but you can also run this in a bash script as well. So that is an interesting one. That was Stu and Pete that put that together, or worked that out. I'm sure I worked that out years ago. I'm sure we've all worked that a few times. You can open a URL in the simulator using XCrun. There's a million things you can do with that, apparently. I think that'll fill TIL for a while. But you can open a URL in your simulator, and if it's a deep link, it'll then launch your app. So that's a great way to test your deep link bits and pieces. App Store Connect now shows you, well, not now, it shows you, I have seen this before, it shows you opt-ins for App Store Analytics. So you can get the gist of how many people are giving your app App Store Analytics. This one I didn't know. In iOS 12 on non-3D touch phones, you can long press the space bar to activate trackpad mode. So I haven't fiddled with that myself, but that's pretty cool. A lot of Today I Learnt is shortcuts and things that are sort of there and have always been there that someone's worked out. And everyone that posts something that maybe they think, oh, I feel silly for just learning that today, all of these have had 2 or 3 or 4 responses with a thumbs up or like, oh, or a head exploding emoji or something. All iPads. You can record a video of the simulator. We're back to XCrun. Record video, type, and then where to put it. Control C to get that out. That could be super handy for recording. I guess you could record UI tests or just record yourself tapping through, especially for the App Store. I forgot about this, and I have 2 phones that have shit batteries that need to be fixed. $39, book it in at Chadstone and take it there. They'll fix it for you. $39 is pretty compelling. Baz, this is your 3rd or 4th one so far. You've been on a roll this month. As iOS 12 came out, Baz jumped in the morning. It's like, hold on, like if you don't want your phone to automatically update to iOS 12, install the tvOS config file, and it will look for tvOS updates that aren't compatible. And you'll never get the auto updates. Everywhere I've ever worked has had a pile of old devices that are sort of stuck on betas or like they're just not in between things. This will get you, keep the phone where it should be. Install it on device. You can, I think you also, I didn't add it here, you can still update manually. This is just the automatic find. So that's a really good one. I mean, you could put that on your own phone just anyway, and then you're in control. This one took a few edits from Baz. There were a couple of comments, a couple of different versions of this, but I actually myself have got an app to build at the moment that will do this. So if you've got a stack view, you make the components side by side in regular width, which is iPad width or horizontal iPhone, and then make them fall under each other in compact, which is vertical iPhone. So it's probably a good screenshot to have a look at later on, but it's all about in your storyboard setting up those really odd constraints based on the, what's it called? The classes and things, yeah. Zach noticed that hides bottom bar when pushed is a property of UI view controller. That's super valuable if you've got a tab bar or something that you want to get rid of. I think there's also hide top bar when pushed as well. Baz, you won an award with this one. What's new in Swift 4.2 is a Hacking with Swift blog post, which basically is just all TIL about Swift 4.2. I didn't go into the detail of all that, but that's a great reference for all the random bits and bobs that are new with Swift 4.2. All right, some of these get a bit wordy. So, this was cool. This is cool because you always wonder why can I do a preconditioned failure or some of those other macros in a guard statement, and I don't have to do a return. And there's some fancy compiler type or some special compiler type. Plus, you wouldn't have learnt this from here. You would have already known this. The never type signals to the compiler that it's never going to return. Yeah, so that was a cool one to see because I think I only learnt that very recently myself. Feel free to jump in as well, Vlass, if I'm misrepresenting never.
Never is a empty enum type. That means it cannot be associated, so that means it cannot be returned.
Right.
But it's new in 4.2.
I'll put that in there for next month. Stu learnt the hard way that calling on a URL session data task, if you don't call resume, it doesn't run. Yeah, that's one of those things where you're sitting there waiting. But that's a good one to... It's good that you've learnt that. It's good to, test flight public links became a thing this month. So I guess we all learnt that implicitly. I remember someone mentioning it. Oh, look, they said this at WWDC. Now it's here. And then 4 hours later, the email came out and it got dropped in the general channel that now they're a thing. Has anyone used public links yet? Successfully? Yep.
We've got public there.
Yeah, great. Yep, there's still Photo Booth on Mac OS. I can't remember the last time I used it, but I mean, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess it's still there.
Top tip for Photo Booth, if you've got kids under 10 that you want to entertain for at least half an hour, stick them in front of Photo Booth. Just let them go.
So this is half an hour value, you reckon?
Yeah,
yep. I worked out, again, through this project that needs a stack view that goes sideways and upside down. Stack view actually came in iOS 9. In my head, I thought it was iOS 10 the whole time. I was just about to write one of those if available things and put my stack view in because I'm like, screw doing this manually, I'll work out iOS 9 later. And I put it in and it didn't complain, so it's there in iOS 9. But the advice from the corners of the room were, it's very buggy in iOS 9. So we'll see how my mileage goes on that one. But yeah, stack view iOS 9. The fancy function with no parameters that returns nothing, apparently the preferred way for that is thingo void instead of thingo. There you go. We get into some shortcuts here. I try to visualize shortcuts in my head from the keyboard. This has got all of them. Control Alt Command U runs a single test that your cursor's in. Great. And if you use G, it'll run the last set of tests. So that's a lot of the TIL stuff has a follow-up, which is also super valuable. So yeah, Control Alt Command U. You can do Command Shift D to focus a view in the view debugger. The view debugger, for those that don't know, is the thing that's not reveal that's in Xcode. I've never used it. I'm not sure how to get into that state where a Command Shift D would do something, but that's the thing. Okay, this one, you've got all your folders in Xcode. I thought it meant in the Finder, but apparently it works in Finder and Xcode. If you tap on the arrow and you hold Option, it'll expand all the subfolders. and it works in reverse. So if you tap on the folder, it'll bring them all in.
It's any outline view that does that.
Which one?
Any outline view.
Any outline view, yep. So that's pretty cool. Overscroll is a thing in Xcode 10. You can keep scrolling. By default, I think it's something. Is it there by default? If it's not, it should be. You can turn it on in the settings, and it's like someone's added 25 carriage returns after your thing, but SwiftLint doesn't complain that there's blank space at the bottom. It's excellent. It's everything else has had it forever. Xcode now has it. You can show all the tabs in Xcode with Command-Shift / backslash. That's cool. Who uses tabs in Xcode? Oh, no, Pablo's the only one on this side of the room. Okay. And yeah, most of the tab shortcuts work across all tabbed apps as well. I find Command-Shift brackets tend to move between the tabs as well, which is mainly in Safari, because that's all I use in Safari is tabs, but that's the only place I use tabs. Oh, Baz. I could have guessed this response, because finding the default template that Xcode puts at the top of all your files, it's actually quite annoying, especially if you're working for somebody else or you're at a different organization or something like that. It adds all that crap at the top. That will find it, that will remove it. But more interestingly, Brett jumped in the comments, or in the comments of that. There's a blog post by Ollie that's all about creating your own templates, and it's super, super easy. So you can create it specific to your project, specific to your Mac, like there's all layers of hierarchy. And I just did this for my project, not because of this, but I just decided to do this today because I got sick of the default one. But jump into the Xcode 9 text macros there, and then create your own version, and then use just Baz's regex here to fix all the old ones. But that's a great link there.
And in the PR this week, the deleted those from 312 files.
You can delete apps from App Store Connect now. I mean, how many apps are there from 8 or 9 years ago that was just like test app 1 and that never got released, or some client app that you've got on your own account because you needed to test push notifications, it didn't have access as an admin in their account. How many of those are just duplicated across the board? Now you can delete them. Cool. I don't know if it deletes the app ID though, but at least it's gone from that App Store Connect thing. You can make it clean. I think Adam has been getting into some Android development. He's learned a lot this month on Android development. But yeah, to enable developer mode on an Android phone, I mean, a lot of people would know this. You've got to tap a button hidden in the settings, like 6 layers deep, like 7 times, at least about 7 times. It's vendor dependent. Today I learned. The slides for Today I Learnt this month will be, well, they are up on melbournecocoaheads.com/TIL. It just directs to the GitHub repo that I'll post this to. Nothing sophisticated. But that channel, the TIL channel is lots of fun. Jump in and no one's posted anything in there that everyone's just like, oh. Everyone's really enjoyed everything everyone's posted. And if you go traveling and come back, tell us about that as well.